A year ago, we launched a series here on News Nation focusing on missing person cases that were not getting national attention. We are continuing that series every Thursday here on News Nation Live. And this morning, we are revisiting a case that still remains a mystery nearly 16 months later. It is the story of a young geologist named Daniel Robinson, who vanished in the Arizona desert. And in a moment, Daniel's dad, David, will be joining me live. But first, a look at Daniel's disappearance. Tonight, we start our series, Missing in America, taking you to where the people were last seen, meeting these families and bringing you their stories. And we begin tonight with Daniel Robinson.
This is the area in Buckeye where his vehicle was found. This is remote. The terrain is extremely treacherous.
Daniel Robinson was 24 when he disappeared, a geologist working his dream job in the Arizona desert. A coworker says Robinson left his job site on the morning of June 23, 2021. His Jeep, found a month later, crashed in a desert ravine. Robinson's keys, cell phone, and wallet were still inside, his clothing in a pile just outside the vehicle. But no sign of Daniel.
I do my job and find my son. He's my son, I'm his father, and it's my job.
For nearly 16 months, David Robinson hasn't given up on that job, searching the desert and bringing in his own private investigator. They took News Nation's Nancy Liu to the crash site. The investigator says too much doesn't add up, including red paint transfer on the side of the Jeep.
The vehicle was tipped over on the passenger side, so there's no red paint in this area. So how that got there, that's why I'm saying that vehicle did not crash here. That vehicle was, its last place of rest was here, but something was going on with that vehicle.
He notes other inconsistencies in the crash report.
The vehicle had 11 additional miles on it from the time the airbags deployed. It had 46 additional ignition cycles on it after the airbags deployed.
But Buckeye police say there's no evidence of foul play and have resisted a deeper investigation. The private investigator is also no longer on the case, but Robinson has finally convinced an outside law enforcement agency to go through Daniel's computer and cell phones for any clues.
They saw some of the things that I was seeing, and they wanted to look into it themselves.
While he waits for any information, he holds vigils.
As you guys know, I've been here over a year searching for Daniel.
And has organized dozens of searches.
Still don't have the answers that we're looking for. But we thank you for coming out here. It really means a lot to us.
Covering more than 23,000 acres, using four-wheelers and on foot. On at least two separate occasions, volunteers found human remains, which turned out not to be Daniel's.
Even though we didn't find Daniel, but it gave you some relief a little. That, we was able to bring some other families some type of closure.
He raises money on GoFundMe and takes every opportunity to speak about his son's disappearance.
I'm just here to bring awareness to my son's case.
Even appearing at CrimeCon in Las Vegas. Robinson has created a robust social media presence, a sophisticated website documenting coverage of the case, and weekly live online updates. All to keep his and other cases in the spotlight.
I'm blessed that I have a small platform, especially on YouTube presence, as well as TikTok and Twitter. In that doing so, I'm able to also help other families. I had other families on my Q&A to be able to tell their stories as well.
This Army veteran with a new mission in life, one he says he'll never give up.
And no matter what, we will not leave a soldier behind. My son, he's my son, and I'm definitely not leaving him behind. That's thank you.
Local police investigating continue to say they have no evidence of foul play in Daniel's disappearance. Joining me now is Daniel's dad, David Robinson. David, you and I have spoken a number of times over the last year since Daniel's disappearance. By watching this story again, finding him must be all-consuming. You changed your life, moved across the country to search.
Yes, thank you for having me on. Yes, it's been very trying for me and my family, Daniel's siblings, his mother. It's been very trying being out here trying to get the answers that we're looking for. You can imagine after a year now still searching for Daniel and not having all the answers that we're looking for is very troubling in our mental state. It's really, really hard. struggling and working with the law enforcement on the outside of Buckeye, trying to get more law enforcement more involved to a point where there's an urgency there. I'm still looking for that urgency after a year. A lot of urgency that will definitely give me more answers, but I'm still on the job. I'm still on the job, putting on my investigative hat, as well as being a father, but also being able to help others as I'm taking this journey.
David, I said a moment ago, Buckeye Police, they have a timeline on their website. They say they're still actively investigating, but there's no evidence of foul play. After all of your investigative work and being so close to this case, do you believe that?
Well, according to my investigator, I did hire a private investigator, and all the information that we gave them from tangible evidence of the red transfer paint, for instance, 11 additional miles, pressure on the windshield, the fact that we don't even know it's Daniel's clothing that's on the ground, haven't been forensically tested. Those type things will, in my opinion, based on my family knowledge of my son. I've been there from the time he was born. We have a great indication about the way Daniel thinks. So you put all that things in combination, that will suggest foul play. Against what the Buckeye Police Department feel, I feel there's more to the story.
And you questioned, David, the timeline as well. What stands out to you that may be inaccurate about the timeline?
Well, one of the biggest things is the person that's last seen a person should be, that story should be vetted very well. And we later found out in my investigation, his story just didn't match the timeline. He said my son left, for instance, the well site at 9:15, but yet my son made a phone call, his final phone call to him at 9:28. Those calls and the desire my son sent a text message to ask for the location came unanswered. So again, like I said, my son called at 9:28. I'm assuming to ask for a direction. So the timeline is not right. When the timeline is not right, you really have to scrutinize that story a little more.
David, this is a tough question to ask, and I'm sorry for asking it, but do you feel as though Daniel is still alive?
I have to. That's the only one that's one of the things that keep me going. It's also crucial for my family, his mother. We're people of faith. We believe in God. We believe in miracles. Though sometimes I look at everything that I have evidence-wise that would suggest other things, I still keep that hope and that faith because we don't have those answers of where Daniel is located. So I always have to keep that faith that somehow I'm going to bring my son home alive. And I really want to believe that. And I'm going to continue to believe that.
I appreciate that. And David, as we look at pictures of Daniel on the screen, there's one video that I just love where he's standing outside and snow is falling on his face. He's got this great big smile. I want you to share with people at home your son, his personality, who he is, and what you miss most about him.
Yeah, Daniel's very free-spirited. You probably can tell by the pictures. He's loved by a lot of his friends. He's a very friendly person. He loves nature. That's the reason why he's a geologist. That's why he came out to Arizona. He wants to be able to be in tune with nature. Also, he's a very family-oriented person. He definitely keeps the family together. Like I said, he shows a lot of love to his family. We love him back. One thing I miss the most for me, on my perspective, is having a conversation with my son. My son always come to me. He come to his mother. He calls all the time. We keep in contact with each other. But for me, just having that 2-hour conversation that we normally have, where he's asking questions, he's wanting to know things, he get advice, his entrepreneur spirit, what he want to do in life. He always plan things and always look on the positive light. I miss those things about my son.
And do you think about what you would say to him now if he could hear you?
Yes, of course. I've been here over a year searching for you. I'm not giving up. He's my son. I love him dearly. I'm here to fight. That's what fathers do. He know I have his back, and I'm here for him. No matter what, I'm definitely here and want to make sure I bring him back. And I'm not going to let anyone stop me. I want him to know that.
Amen. David, you have become such a powerful voice for so many other families that you have come in contact with who are also trying to find their loved ones. What has that support and getting to know these families meant for you and giving you hope in your case as well?
Yes. One thing, it's always something light at the end of the tunnel. It's definitely been a long experience. But in that experience, when you're a person that just have a missing loved one in your family, you're unaware of what other people are going through as well. I found out this is not unique to my family. There's other struggling families that don't even have a voice, so be able to talk to people all the time and hear their stories, it caused me to be passionate. I couldn't be human without answering those calls. I just want to make sure that I'm helping the other families as much as I can through my journey. doing everything I can. That's the reason why I have the Daniel Robinson Foundation, as well as other events and things I do to try to make sure I can get other people's story out there. I'm very passionate about that. Want to help everybody I can. It's my duty and my journey as well to be able to do that.
Well, you're a great dad and you've got a big heart, and I know you've got a big support system behind you as well. And the most important thing is keeping Daniel's story in the headlines. We're glad to partner with you as you do that, David Robinson. Thank you for giving us some time.
I appreciate you. Thanks so much.
My best to you. And if you have any information on the location of Daniel, if you have any information in this case, the Buckeye Police Department are still actively investigating. You can also go online to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com.
Government officials.
When the lights and camera turn off, I will be here. When the interest and conversation fade, I will be here. When there's no one around, A father will do anything it takes to be there for his son, to protect his family.
Daniel Robinson went missing 4 months ago. This is the last photo his family has of him. He's a 24-year-old geologist, last seen leaving his job site in Buckeye, Arizona.
As the Gabby Petito homicide case garners national attention, another young person has been missing for nearly 3 months, and his family is desperate to find him. 24-year-old Daniel Robinson, a geologist, was last seen on the morning of June 23rd, leaving his work site in the desert of Buckeye, Arizona.
David Robinson had only one thought on his mind as he drove the nearly 1,800 miles from his South Carolina home to Phoenix.
I had to find my son.
And I'm still here searching for him. Thank you guys for coming in this morning's Q&A. I'm David Robinson. I'm the father of geologist Daniel Robinson. My son Daniel, a graduate from the College of Charleston in Charleston, South Carolina. The College of Charleston in Charleston, South Carolina. My son graduated with a degree in geology. He took that degree and brought it out to Phoenix, Arizona, where he wanted to start his career, start his life, start his adventure in life. He came here to make Arizona, like I say, Arizona great again. Daniel, a guy hired immediately with a company called Matrix New World, also called Matrix Southwest Groundwater. They hired him on as a field geologist, an engineering company. Hired him on as a field geologist and also called a hydrogeologist. His job, what he does is get assigned to various well sites all over Arizona. Those well sites are for communities. Each community have to have at least one well site, some two, but those wells have to produce at least 100 years of water before those communities can be built. My son's job is very important, is to determine that the engineering company he's working with as well, to check the viability of those wells, to make sure the water is drinkable, and also, like I said, that well can produce that amount of water. Again, my son, as usual, has been assigned to a well site. He's been assigned to, according to his job, 2 well sites that day. And the first well site he did complete. He went out to do some logging at that well site, what I was told. But there's some discrepancy, of course, about the second well site when my son went missing, according to the reports. My son, of course, from one report, the initial report, to myself and my family, is that my son was leaving out from that first well site to go to the second one off of Sun Valley Parkway. And once he got up to Sun Valley Parkway, he met with a guy named Ken from the well, who was already at the well site at the time. They met out on the roadway. According to this Ken, they had a brief conversation on the roadway. Then my son got in the vehicle, followed him into that desert, the Sonoran Desert. 1 mile west and 2 miles north to get to this well site. Once they arrived on that well site around 9 o'clock that morning, my son he and my son had a brief conversation about the weather. He said my son got his vehicle, waved off to him, got in the vehicle and left, never to be seen again. As you know, most of you know, have been doing my own investigation. In my investigation, those are things that we initially had to go by, of course. Everything we learned about this case, my family and I, that was told my son was in this last seen in this desert. And so, of course, my investigation, as well as my searches and everything, every effort I was doing at the beginning started from that well site, just from the narrative, just from a story from one person to myself. Of course, I did an interview myself with this guy, and also hearing what the first officer with the Buckeye Police Department had told me as well. So everything was based on that. Everything we know pretty much today is based on one man's word, what he said, his account to what happened. Of course, after working some months and get some answers, I did find out that his story does not make sense. He changed the story a couple times, as you guys can see. Sometimes you watch some of these documentaries as well as some things he told me personally. That story had changed. Those piqued my interest as well, and I was able to go back and get some information from my son's phone. And once I was able to get some of those information on the phone, I did determine, especially with the phone laws and things like that, determined that his story was not accurate, it was not right, the timeline is wrong, and there's some things that would suggest something wrong with the story. Of course, according to my son's phone, he had made he had sent a text message out a little before 9 and to ask for a location to try to find out where this location was at, how to get there. That text message went unanswered. Of course, my son had to then try to call. My son ended up calling at 9:28 that morning to try to, in my opinion, to get directions. He never did make it there, and at that point. So the thing is, so we had to put those things to scrutinize the story at the beginning. If you want to know an answer to anything, you always look at the beginning. And some of those things that we're having problems with right now, when I say we, myself, my family, is to really pinpoint, pinpoint where my son was actually located that morning. Of course, the first thing we did was try to get the police department to get cell phone pings. To this date, with all the so-called investigation they have yet to get cell phone ping data. Their excuses is hiding behind that my son is his case is not a criminal case. Even with the high-profile case right now, they're still refusing to get cell phone ping data that will determine where my son was, his cell phone at least, was located around that time. I even heard them saying at one point that the cell phone probably didn't have no signal or something out of this excuse. And that is far from the truth, because my family and I was calling all night, at nighttime into the next day, trying to see if Daniel, his phones kept ringing. To make a long story short, it's ringing into the night to the next day. Sometimes it end up sometime that morning, the next day on 24th, the phone finally went dead. So of course it has signal. So we tried to get the location device of that, as well as the Uconnect that's in this vehicle. We thought it was an OnStar at first. And once we got information that it was a Uconnect there, we relayed that to the police department. They said they would look into it. When they looked into it, they said they gave me two different stories. One, they said, hey, we couldn't get anything from it. The other one, they said, yes, we talked to Uconnect themselves. When they looked into it, it came back with all 0 grids. It didn't show anything. Asked them the reasons why. They said that the manufacturer said the only time that happens is somebody tampered with the device or disconnected the battery in the vehicle. So of course that raised some alarms to me and myself and my family, that somebody tampered with the vehicle, why they would take the battery loose, that type deal. But we're hearing so many different stories. We don't see that in the report. Certain things they say to us personally versus things they put in their report. So the problems I have to date is because of those things, is that we have two things that's really, really pressing. My son is a resident of Tempe, Arizona. He moved out from Phoenix, Arizona, decided to live in Tempe. He thought it was a better area. He loved that near I guess, his college area. But he loved being in that area there. And like I say, he's a resident. Loved Tempe. The Tempe Police Department is the first department I reached out to, of course, because of that. And the Tempe Police Department, I thought, would assume would be taking my son's case. They decided to push it to Buckeye, Arizona, because allegedly, without any evidence, they feel that because of one guy's story, that's where he was last seen. They hadn't nobody vetted the story. Like I said, the crucial part about this whole thing is, like I say, go to the beginning and find out what really happened. Always look at the beginning. The last person that saw a person should be scrutinized the most. And I do have information and things like that. You guys, of course, A lot of things that really always presses me when I have to talk to the public is always talking in ways that some things I do have and I really can't share with the public, of course. And I shared a little bit with the police department, some of my concerns, especially with the Buckeye Police Department. Those things it kind of ignored. But that's why I tell you guys a lot of times when it comes to the blue is always going to look out for the blue. They're going to look out the blue a lot more faster than they would for an individual who's missing, a person who they're saying they're serving to protect. So the blue is always going to pretty much kind of look out for the blue. I've been seeing that a lot. No matter what I say, you guys already know the problem I have with that well. With some of the things that's very suspicious. The story I've been told, one well versus the other well, for instance, the second well, of course, make more sense to the storyline. Of course, there's some things there in that well as well. I just showed you guys here on the Q&A. Law enforcement is refusing to look into that as well. So it's pretty much everything that I put out in that way. Is the blues, like the way I look at it, the blues always going to look out for the blue. They would do certain things to a certain point, but as long as it don't cross over to making the blue look bad or something like that, so they kind of all bunch up together and look out for each other. So that's what I'm saying, you guys. If you was to think about anything, you always look at the beginning of a story. I learned that. I know I'm bringing up religion in a way. But I learned that as a child, so if you want to know the truth about anything, you always look at the beginning and you don't just start anywhere and just keep going. So the beginning of the story was suggest that my son did go out somewhere, according to his phone laws and things like that. I can put out just a little tad that I do know as well. I said this before, if a lot of people was paying attention to that, if Buckeye was doing just a little small work, when they had the story to say, hey, he said he was tired and all this kind of crazy crap, almost like being tired is some type of crime, or that's some excuse to say a person did off themselves somewhere, or they just wanted to be gone, or whatever the case may be. Tired is not a crime. And my son, of course, according to his phone, he would have been up around certain areas. I can't put that out in the public just yet, but he was around certain areas for a few days, according to his phone. So it's some things that's out there that I was able to get information back from his phone. It took a lot of work on my behalf. I didn't get that from the Buckeye Police Department. I got it from my own working with Google and to some of these other things I had to go into. Other people look into something for me, and so I gave most of those things, like I said, you guys, to the law enforcement agencies outside of Buckeye to try to hope that somehow they would look into it. I find more so that they're not looking into that. They're looking more into ways how to bolster and help Buckeye get off of this situation where they're non-action. Like I said at the beginning, the Buckeye Police Department, as soon as they found my son's vehicle, not that they found, but the rancher found my son's vehicle, the first thing they did was to first tell the guy not to alert me and the family, though I was out there for days and months, a month looking for my son. And I'm out there in the desert with volunteers. The other thing was they waited over 24 hours just to alert me, like I said. And once they alerted me, they ended up turning the vehicle over to the first day. The first day they told me about it, on the 20th, July the 20th. The vehicle was filed on the 19th. July 20th, they turned the vehicle over to me and then threatened me if I didn't get out of this compound, they would have a toll and have to pay storage fees, So that transferred to a meeting, as I told you guys. And in that meeting, after the meeting, they met me in the parking lot and gave me everything from the scene. There's no investigation, no nothing. Gave me everything from the scene, marked for safekeeping. Investigations, I'm telling you guys, so nobody don't get confused. I know you guys here at Buckeye saying they're doing an investigation. I'm trying to figure out at what point did they say decide to do an investigation? Because on my behalf as a family member, I have never heard the word investigation from them outside of when they first, Daniel first went missing. Officer Cruz said he was going to go out and investigate to see what happened. And he was actually going up and down Sun Valley Parkway in that area. So don't get confused with small words as well. He's going out and search the area to look for Daniel. In the area at the time I didn't know was Sun Valley Parkway, Catch Road. I heard it was near the White Tank Mountains, which I found out later that, like I said, he was missing the desert. So don't get confused about certain things like that. They have never have got to a point of real investigation. Investigation would have not allowed them to give me the vehicle that I have currently. They would not allow me to have those clothing items that I have currently. I would not have all the electronics that was collected from the scene. And you don't do investigations like that. So that just kind of shows you there was no such thing as an investigation, no matter what a police department would say. There was no investigation. And excuse me, no forensics on the scene. You guys, I pointed out so many times to you guys about the pictures that you see, all the pictures that Buckeye, the chief of police at the time, Chief Hall, say, hey, this is all the pictures that we have. There's no helicopter footage that I've seen to date. I can tell you guys I've been reaching out to the Phoenix Police Department. I put in a request as well. I had one of the city council members look into it. To date, there's no record or anything found so far. They even suggest that it was even the first search that they claimed they did with the Phoenix Firebird helicopter. To date, they have not. When I first did my initial intake to get those records, and they said they don't see anything that they ever been out there to Buckeye to look for Daniel. That first date, that 2 to 3 days after he went missing. So those are things that I'm still working on, you guys, and I'm still waiting just to make sure that they're accurate. I'm making sure they're accurate. I tried it again, sent out some information to see if that even actually happened. I just think it's a story that is, like I said before, even with the testimony of the rancher, said there was no helicopter out there for this scene either. I think those are a lot of things that were told to me just to make my family feel good, like they're actually looking for Daniel, but they haven't. The other part is I haven't Maricopa County admit that they utilize their dogs, utilizing the helicopters or anything in that situation to, because I couldn't see Maricopa County being a part of this scene here and tell a rancher not to notify the family that this vehicle has been found. So if that's the soul, if I found that's the truth, then I mean Maricopa County is culpable as well for this charade or whatever's going on with this whole case. So the whole thing is, I'm saying, you guys, what I'm saying from just putting this out right now is that I'm really at a point in my life and this point, and I'm not making it all about me, and I'm trying to make sure that don't happen because my son is missing, and I'm definitely out here trying to fight for him, trying to do everything I can. So, but I just want to say that, you know, it's kind of hard to constantly, for over a year, pretty much begging. You have to beg law enforcement for something that just seems so easy. You know what I'm saying? It took me 3 months just to even get some kind of coverage in the media. But to see things happen so easy in certain cases and with certain people, and then you have to sit here over a year and you're still fighting with law enforcement for certain little minor things that should seem like it should happen a lot faster. I had to wait on people make meetings, for instance, just to decide to do something or do something small. Then whatever they're trying to do is always something small, but it's also the smallness is something that's helping the blue. Is you get what I'm trying to say. It's not anything that really helps the family. You know what I'm saying? Help me in my search for my son. So that's the kind of things I have to deal with, and it's very tiresome. I know a lot of people are very passionate about Daniel's case. I hear a lot of little feedback and stuff and talk in the social media realm. And, you know, some people question me as a father, a man who's been out here for over a year. They say things, suggest things out there in the media as if they love my son more than I do. You know, some things like that. I hear all kind of things out there. Those are kind of things, you know, it's not easy for a family member to have to try to ignore, try to move past, try to, you know, continue on what you're doing and stay focused. But, you know, of course, we're human. We have feelings as well. I know I do. I don't show it as much try to not show it as much on, especially in public, because I definitely have to be effective for my son. I'm not out here on some type of vacation. Again, like I always like to say, I'm not here having fun. I'm here trying to find my son. I'm doing the best I can. You guys know that from day one. I didn't come out here as a professional. I don't work for Aqua Search or some of these other guys you guys always pointing out and throwing out to me. Hey, go check into Heavy D Sparks or somebody. I don't work for these guys who've been, I guess, training or whatever they do to try to help find missing loved ones and things like that. I'm just a father who's came out here, got in my vehicle, drove out here, and don't know what to expect. Started from ground zero. Now started from nothing. The only person I knew out here is my daughter. she and I would go out, and the first initial, like I said, you guys go out and try to do everything we can to locate Daniel first, do our due diligence, work with the police department, try to find anything or everything we can do. Even some of the things y'all heard in the report that they use to bolster their theories that Daniel some kind of way, some mental state, some things like sitting us in an interrogation room and had us sitting there trying to think about anything we think is saying was really odd about Daniel. In the coming days, he went missing or whatever the case would be. Sitting down there kind of busting your brain trying to come up with something. Then you name one thing that happened weeks in advance and they can use that as a reason, that type of stuff. So we was out here working, a family. I was out here since that time. I have, like I said, didn't know anyone. And it's amazing to be able to reach out to a community, not knowing anybody. I never organized anything in my life in this kind of way. And to be able to reach out to a community and get people involved, reach out to one person who knew about Buckeye, who lived in the area, and then started my searches, started my investigation, all that kind of stuff. All that stuff come from grassroots, grassroots stuff that I just went out there and started working hard for, just trying to find answers for my son, not getting help from law enforcement. Think about it, over 40-some weeks of searches out there in the desert, not a dime from law enforcement was put into it, not time, not a moment of time was put into my searches out there. So it's amazing to be able to get things going for that length of time for over a year, and also covering over 35,000 acres of land without law enforcement help. But, like I said, a lot of things I'm doing out here could be scrutinized or whatever people want to say or feel, or they think they could have done it better, or whatever the case may be. But the only thing I do know is that I'm trying my best, and I'm trying my best, and I'm still doing my best as much as possible to find out what happened to my son. There's a lot of people missing to this date. They say law enforcement is searching into it, and some of them been missing for years. But I don't hear a lot of people will scrutinize the law enforcement as much as they scrutinize and say, hey, you should have answers about now. Investigation. You should have answers now. I guess some people do look at me like Buckeye would say that the FBI told them, Mr. Robinson, you're doing such a great job on your own. We don't need to come in. If I'm doing such a great job, I would have had my son by now. That's what I feel. I'm trying to do my best. I don't give myself a whole lot of credit. That's what I say to my team and also people that's around my family. But, the thing is, for me, success would be to find my son. So trying to do my best I can. But I'm really putting this at the beginning, you guys, because I'm running out of things I really, really would like to put out there in the public. I did get some messages back from law enforcement this morning, a matter of fact. And, some things that I just had to really puzzle and put together in my mind, the angle that law enforcement is going. Like I said, again, it just appears to me, and I already can understand that it's always going to not be a meeting. Like, for instance, I have to have a meeting that's supposed to include me or whatever. Just like the FBI's Buckeye, when they say, hey, we have a case briefing, my attorney immediately after my letter, I sent him a letter out asking for the FBI come in. Chief Hall said, hey, we got we're going to have a case briefing with the FBI. My attorney immediately wrote a letter back, a response. The same date, not no days later, the same moment. We got the email and requesting that we both be there, or just me as a father to be part of this case briefing with the FBI. They did it behind my back. It didn't know the request. Did it behind my back, and then gave me that answer. Hey, FBI say you're doing such a great job on your own. We don't have to come into this case. Right? That's insulting to me. The same thing I'm having now with law enforcement. I've been requesting a meeting. You guys, they promised me a meeting. I've been doing some meetings, you guys. I've been working, and you guys don't know half the stuff that I do in the background. It may don't seem to appear because you can't know everything, of course. But I'm definitely work hard in the background, myself and my team. We sat down at a big table with the mayors and you name it. Having these meetings to be included with law enforcement to try to get something rolling about my son's case. This is a high-profile case. My son's name is out there. I've been working very hard for over a year. They promised me a meeting with all of myself and all these other agencies together. And then when I get an answer back, they're having these meetings without me. you know, that type deal. That's an insult to me. And then when they have these meetings without me, they're making decisions about things about my son without me, and those decisions are not in his best interest. It's more so in the Blues' interest, and that's the problem, I guess. Guys, I have you that's happening right now, and it's really painful for me, and it's really hurtful to me. So the things I want to say to you guys is what I said on the Twitter is that I want to do a call to action type deal. Um, you know, I've tried to puzzle this thing in my mind for a while to try to see what a better approach would be when it comes to law enforcement to get them to move the way I need them to move. And when I say I need them to move, it's not trying to run a department. It is I want them to treat my son as if it was their son. You know, I want to see it just like that. I want to see it done if Daniel was their child, their loved one. I want to see them treat Daniel as if he was a police officer. And like I said, I'll point this out all the time. There's a police cruiser sitting there, uniform sitting on the ground, everything untouched, and they would never ever say this is not foul play. That's how I want them to treat my son's case. There would have been nobody could have somebody could say, hey, I seen the officer waved out to me and say he said in his own mouth, I'm out of here, man, and walked off, and they found this vehicle. Well, they wouldn't have took 30 days to find it, first of all. Found this vehicle out here, and you think they would have told the family, well, we think he had a head injury, and he walked off butt naked out there, took his uniform out, threw it on the ground, and here's his stuff. You know, here's his whatever they give back to the family. That would have never rolled like that. That's the way I want law enforcement to treat my son. The way they would treat a fellow law enforcement officer, the way they would treat their own children. And I haven't seen that to day one, since day one from law enforcement. I hear excuses. I hear ways they would try to twist and turn, whatever. It give you a form. I don't think I know a lot about the word of the Bible, so I probably use a lot of Bible references, you guys. Like the Bible would say, you have a form of godliness, but denying the truth, meaning you might look like, you're a person in the church, for instance, or saved or something, but you're not really there, right? So, and that's the kind of thing I get with the law enforcement. They'll do certain things it's really to design, in a sense, in my opinion, to look good, but not really providing any substance, right? So, of course, that's very frustrating. Just to see the movement is moving by inches and inches and nothing really happening. Um, I was sitting in a meeting to give my son things over with electronics, and I still waiting on feedback. So it's certain things, there's certain things that just really irritate me, guys, and I'm kind of probably having a little, I don't want to say a pity party or something really, but I'm just really putting out a lot right now this morning. But I just want to definitely get to some questions on this Q&A. But like I say, I'm still trying to ponder I told some people on Twitter that, look, this Wednesday here is going to be a call to action. And I'm just really still trying to put, in lieu of some of the information I got back this morning, I'm just really trying to put together a proper call to action to this stuff. I don't know, Tempe Police Department right now having their issues with police brutality. That is something that been very a problem when I was growing up. That's one thing that you guys seen Daniel into that protest, here in Arizona against police brutality. That's one thing he heard the stories that when I grew up, when we didn't have the cell phones, and I know I'm telling my age, cell phones and things like that to record officers. Lost a lot of friends in high school, got shot in the back by police officers, but we didn't have those things technology to hold them accountable. So that's some of the things that happen here in Phoenix as well, is some of these things that's out there. Because I seen a press release on yesterday about that came out about some kind of police brutality going on. And as well as, like I said, this situation here, I'm sure the Blue is going to look out for the Blue. Even in a situation like that, they're not going to come out and say, hey, we're wrong and this and that. No, they're going to find twists and turn any kind of way they can to try to make that department look good. So the only way I think a person can look good is to actually just do the right thing. You're asking citizens to do the right thing, don't commit crimes. Um, you know, and I think the persons who's supposed to uphold that law should be doing the same thing. Don't commit crimes. Treat the community the way they should be treated. If you got something wrong within your department, you correct it. You don't try to cover it up. You try to correct it and weave it out, weave the cancer out of your department. So that type deal. But anyway, just wanted to go back to you guys if you have any questions. This is a Q&A for Daniel Robinson for those who may be new to this YouTube channel. The first thing I would like to ask you guys, if you can, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. I really, really need that. I will put this on the bottom as well as the tip line for those who may have answers to what happened to my son, as in direct answers, who know who's involved, what happened, something that would definitely bring Daniel back home, that would just end all of this problem that I'm having, getting answers, total answers to what happened. And so that's the tip lines for you. I pay for this tip line. It's 24 hours, 7 days a week. You can remain anonymous. Of course, it's live operated. Take your call. Just use that number. If you don't want to talk to anybody, of course, you can just text the word tip from your phone or from a burner phone, whatever you want to use, somebody else's phone. Text the word tip to the phone number and a form will come up. You still can remain anonymous. And I would love, as a family, to say thank you for showing some humanity or empathy to say, hey, look, I want to help this family out and I want to help this family move on from their pain, give them some form of closure. That's what I'm asking for. So you can utilize that. Of course, also thank you guys for coming out to Q&A, like I said, and supporting. If you guys can, again, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. That definitely will help the algorithms, help this channel grow. I'm really trying to get Daniel's story out. This Q&A is a little different. Like I started off with this talk, but I definitely want to get to these questions. You guys have questions about my son's case. Some of you hear the same thing over and over again, but you have been supporting. I've seen a couple people support with the super chat, as well as those who coming out in the comment section. Really make me happy to see you guys showing up to support me regardless. You hear some of the same things over and over again, but you're there. And that's a morale booster for myself. It keeps me going, especially at moments like this when I'm not feeling so well emotionally. But you guys come out and support, and that really helps. It gives me an opportunity to kind of ease my mind somewhat to make my next move. What is my next move? But my move is always going to be something towards Daniel. It's going to always be something to, whatever I do, it's always going to be something towards trying to get answers to what happened to Daniel, get police to move, law enforcement to move, find some information on my own, or whatever the case may be. But it's always going to be something. It's going to be some type of strategy or something I have to come up with. So, like I said, when you guys put that support there, that helped me out mentally as well. Also, 121,173 people have put their voices to the petition. I really want to tell you guys, thank you so much for that as well. Putting your voice to the petition. Again, that's very important. And I've been utilizing that. I've been utilizing that in words, but I'm really going to have the stuff put out into a point where something's going to happen when I finally see a certain way that's going to definitely cause me to be able to have a little more push towards getting law enforcement involved. For instance, I'm really pushing out for other agencies. Again, I'm still working, and being able to use this petition definitely helps that. Saying 121,173 people have put their voice to it. You guys can do it yourself. And I'm trying to let's get to 200,000. I'm trying to get there. If you guys can definitely sign that petition, go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com, hit that petition button. Put your voice to that petition. That's your voice. Saying that you're supporting everything I have been doing here from day one, and what I'm continually to do. So definitely need you to do that. If you guys want to contact me, you have the contact information right here strolling on the bottom. You have the phone number there as well as the email. You guys want to do flyers, want to have them mailed out to you, things like that. You can hit the email up as well. Request those, just put your information. You go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com, volunteer. You can go there, and you also can put in your information to receive flyers. So again, you guys, please, all the support I can get. That my flyer distribution have to stop. Of course, the searches had slowed down. They've been on pause for a while. The public search day is, but I have my private searches, and I have one scheduled coming up next month as well. And so definitely want to let you guys know that on a non-public search, have those things going. But at the same time, I really have some areas that still need to be searched and that I can clear and say we're done with those areas in the desert. Still need to be searched, and I will be trying to do everything I can to bring those public searches back. So if you guys can look out for that and be ready to support that, that would help as well. So thank you so much, you guys. Like I said, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. I will be going to the comment section. If you guys have any questions, please hit the word, put the word question there before your question, the capital letter Q, things like that. That will help me find it as I'm coming down the comment section. I don't want to miss anybody's question. Try to get everything I can. Thank you, Doohickey, for being here as well. Terry, thank you so much for being here this morning. DJ Moore, thank you so much for being here this morning, as well as Ellen. Thanks so much for being here this morning. I really appreciate you coming out. D-Love, thank you again for coming out. Blessings to you as well. Thank you, Gina, for being out this morning. I really appreciate you, all the work you have been doing as well. Thank you, Lois, also for all that you have been doing, moderating as well, from North Carolina. Thank you so much for being here. And also, I don't know who this is, but thank you, Facebook user, for being here this morning. Mary Flynn, thank you so much. Anissa, thank you so much for being here. Good morning to you. Rack, thank you so much for being here. And Anissa, thank you so much for that super chat. I really appreciate it. God bless you for that. It's really kind of you. Like I said, this is another example. You guys showing your support that way. That's amazing. After a year, you guys have been still showing so much love and support, some empathy for me and my family, and that really means a lot. So thank you so much for supporting. That help, and that goes a long way. I really appreciate that, Nissa. God bless you for that, for that super chat. So thanks so much. And that's another thing, you guys. A lot of times, just being able to have the algorithms. I think I'm at a little over 1,000 subscribers. That helps with little things like that as well. There's other things that open up. I'm still learning about. Like I tell you guys, I'm just really busy. I don't get to. I say over and over again on the Q&As that, hey, look, I'm still learning how to do certain things on this YouTube, and I want to do this, and I just don't have the time to actually really do it. But I want to. But I'm saying there's some little elements that open up, like the super chats and the community tab and all this kind of things I've been hearing about but haven't used yet. It just that but it shows me that you guys have put this channel there. I decided to make the Q&A just to be able to answer questions, question and answers. Rather be able to engage with the public. Hey, say, look, I hear a lot of things out there. Things that's people get their own little things, to get their own groups together, they come up with their own investigations into you name it. And I even told you guys this before. My daughter come crying to me one day and told me some guy had a whole YouTube channel about me. I'm an agent who work for the government, and Daniel's not real and all kind of stuff. I mean, this guy had paperwork and all kind of stuff to show, and taking videos. I laugh because it's crazy. Taking videos from news articles and see how his head turned this way. That's a signal to blah blah blah. I mean, this man got millions of followers. So some people subscribe to things like that. They love to hear things that's not true. They like to hear things. So to make a long story, I was able to get this channel to be able to tell my truth, to know what's going on in the case. A person who's actually here in this case, who's part of this case for my son. So you're gonna hear some things directly from me. I don't know all the answers, but the answers I do know, I give them to you guys. First of all, the ones I can and the ones I can't. There's a lot of things I can, of course, that I would love to tell the public, but I can't. And I'm just really hoping that law enforcement do something with it. So those information. So, but anyway, thank you so much, Anissa, again, for your super chat. That really means a lot. God bless you. Also, Athena, thanks so much. I just seen your super chat come up as well. Thank you to Athena for being here this morning. If you guys have any question, again, put the word question there before your question, capital letter Q or something like that, and that would help. I really appreciate that. Mary Flynn, again, thanks so much. Thank you, Shauna, for being here, moderating as well, being part of the team. and board member. I really appreciate it. God bless you. T and Wildflowers, thank you for being here as well. Also, let me see who else I got here. Terry, thank you so much for being here. And yes, and miracles. I am looking for miracles as well. I believe in miracles. I believe in God. I believe in faith. I believe in prayer. Fasting. Saying I believe all of it, and it's been the number one thing for me in my life. If you guys know half of the story, then you'll believe in it too. So, also thank you, Anissa. Thanks so much for being here this morning. I really appreciate it. Gina, thanks so much for putting that out. You guys who can, again, hit that like, share, subscribe button. That will ever help. That helps so much to get this channel growing. Thank you, Sophia, again, for being here. So fresh smells. Thank you so much for moderating as well, being part of the team and board. Thank you for being here. Mayor Flynn, again, thank you. And also, like I said, thank you, Small Town PI. Thank you so much for that super chat and seeing those kind of words. He will be home, and that's speaking faith, and I really appreciate that, and that gesture of love that you have put out there as well. And you say, don't give up, and I really need that, and I really appreciate you saying that. Like I said, today, your guys can see how I started off the day. I'm not feeling well mentally. I'm not feeling well with the things I had to deal with coming on after this Q&A. But that's part of my days. Those kind of things that keep me up at night, to try to sit up and try to come with a different strategy, and things like that. So that kind of changed up my Q&A this morning. I wanted to give you guys a call to action, and I also wanted to talk about some other things. But to be honest with you guys, it put me out of certain moods, some things I had to deal with this morning, early in the morning. But I want to say, Small Town PI, thank you so much for that. Thank you for your love. I really appreciate you. God bless you for that. And like I said, that's definitely a morale booster for me when you guys support me like that. And I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. God bless you. Also, Shauna, thanks so much for putting this up as well. Q&A is helping bring awareness to Daniel's case and answer questions. Ask your questions here. Again, if you guys have any questions, put the word question there, or the capital letter Q, or some question marks, something I can see where I can say, hey, look, that's a question, because sometimes I go really fast down the comment section. I don't try to miss anybody. I would like to say hello to each and every last one of you. And because I really, truly appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate everything everybody have done from day one, all the prayers, donations, to support out in the searches, to pass out these flyers. I mean, I have a lot of people just hit me up. I think we had like 30 people over the weekend. The flyers coming out to them as well. And man, it's amazing. It's amazing to keep that stuff going and keep Daniel's story moving out there across this country. It's amazing that you guys are really supportive that way. Telling your friends, telling your families, keeping Daniel's story out there. I'm telling you guys, that's the most important thing for a family, is to keep their loved one's story going, because it's easy to get buried under the rug. Nobody don't care anymore. Nobody think about this person. And as soon as that happened, no tension is there. That's what a lot of times where the perpetrator, or whatever the case may be, whatever happened, just get washed away. And I definitely not gonna let that happen. You guys see my drive, my enthusiasm, my love for my son, to keep this thing going for over a year. I'm trying. All thing I can say again, I'm just trying. I'm doing the best I can. I'm not perfect, but I'm doing the best I can, and I need you guys' help. So when you guys do what you're doing, I need your help. I'm first to admit that. I need your help, and I'm really grateful for your help. So anytime you guys give me the morale boosters of support, whatever the case may be, that helps out a whole lot. So thank you so much. Shauna B, thank you again for putting this up, guys. If you have a question, please start the capital letter Q, the question, the word question, or the question marks before your question. That helps. Thank you, Sheroes Nation, for being here, and I really appreciate that. Again, thank you so much for being here, and it's good to see you here in this Q&A, and thank you so much again for all the hard work you have done as well. I keep talking about your channel. You guys can go to Sheroes Nation channel. She have a lot of good content over there. I'm just still amazed, these content creators, especially you, Sheroes Nation as well, and also how you put those things together. Gisela Cave, also from Grizzly True Crimes. You guys, I know it's really hard to, it's a lot of work, I have to put that way, to put the content together. You do a very good job, very talented. But the thing is not just putting the content together. You actually, Sheroes Nation, you actually have fats. You put your things based on fat base, and that's the part that I really enjoyed the most is going through it and hearing you say things in Daniel's case, for instance, some things that I would like to say in that kind of way that you put it, and it's accurate. So that helps out a lot. I really appreciate that you putting those information out there as well that you gathered from what you have and put it into the right context. I really like that. So thanks so much, Rose Nation. You guys, like I say, can go over there and check out her channel. That'll help as well for her. So please go over there and check it out. Mayor Flynn, thank you so much again. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And thank you, Small Town PI. I really appreciate your love support. Thank you, Valerie. Some of you guys might hear me say it over and over again. Get your name up coming down the comment section. PM channel, thank you again. Thank you, Robin. Thank you so much for being here as well. Thank you for your prayers. I really appreciate that. And Small Town PI, thank you again. I really appreciate that. And the constant love, I really appreciate that. God bless you. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here. Thank you for the support. I really appreciate it, guys. Again, I see some of the stuff moving over in the comment section on the YouTube side. I really appreciate you guys for being here as well. All right. Thank you so much. Let me see who I got here. Aaron. Thank you, Aaron Chase. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for the work you have been doing in the background as well. All the phone calls and things you have been doing. So I really appreciate that, that you've been doing, helping towards my son's case, showing your love as well and support, being here this morning. Thank you again. Michelle, thanks so much for being here from the Facebook side of things. You're here in Rainbow Valley, minutes south from Buckeye in the desert. When the next grid search happen, I would like to help. And I'm trying to get it before this year is over with, Michelle, especially is that it's on the cooler side. I do have another non-public search next month as well. I have these scientists, of course. We're trying to do some work out there. So I'm having that for next month. And so you guys will not be able to come. I'm trying to make sure that this is done again without so much foot traffic. Some things that have to be taken care of. Some other areas I'm looking into out there in the desert. That's part of my investigation. And it's sad that, like I said, there's no dime not being put into my searches and my investigation from law enforcement. I get a lot of talk, but I don't have any tangible, nothing, no hard enthusiasm. No. The crazy part is I want to put this out. I can't, of course, give you a date and stuff like that, but I am inviting also law enforcement into this next non-public search, because I will be sending out a letter to them as well, all the agencies, and I can't tell you the ones that will be involved, because I will be pushing it out that way. And then I'm also going to probably, if I have to make it public at the last minute, it'll be going through the media. I'm reaching out from Maricopa County. I'm reaching out to Tempe, Arizona, and also Phoenix, Arizona, to be a part of this upcoming search out there. So definitely reaching out to them, inviting them out there and see what they do. I want them to put some money into my son. They're going to put money into the search one way or the other. And I'm going to make sure that happens. Law enforcement, that is. And so it's going to be a public invite. It's coming up. Once I get that set up, you guys, I already have something set up with that as well. Just had a meeting about it yesterday. And but I'm definitely putting them on the spot, if you want to say. Just see what they're going to do. Because I'm telling you guys, I want them to put dime. You guys have been contributing your money to everything I have been doing here from day one. I want to see the law enforcement do the same thing. I want them to put their money into the pot. And so definitely we'll be pushing that publicly. So thank you so much for being here. The idea of Michelle wanting to be a part of the search. And like I said, just keep checking with pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. And when I have those public searches back again, it'll be posted there. Now, I'll be talking about it as well as here on the Q&A. So thank you again. Thank you, Brooke, for being here. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for coming in on the YouTube side of things. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate that, your comment. God bless you on that. I'm just doing the best. I'm doing whatever any good father would do. I'll just put it that way, because I know one father who probably wouldn't do this particular. But I think that any father who loves their children who love their family. Of course, me and Daniel's mother is divorced, but I still have my family. My children are my family, and I have to protect them. So I have to protect them whether they old or young. So I have to protect my family. And one thing is that's what fathers do. That's not it's where the way I like to put it is not something that is incredible that fathers. That's what fathers should be doing. I just put it that way. That's what fathers. So there's no extra thing when a father go out and protect his family. That's his birthright. As a father, you say you want to have children. That's your birthright as a father. You have the right to protect your family. So, and that's what I look at. All right. Thanks so much for your comment. All right, Matthews, thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for the first question. I thought you guys weren't going to give me no questions. I'm really happy to see a question come up. Thank you, Matthews. Do you think information data was deleted on his phone? I really do. And it was deleted. And that's some of the things that have been retrieved. I have gotten some things back from a previous search I had on that phone. But the second thing is now is in the hand of law enforcement. And that should be more data coming, some things I couldn't get the first time. So, but yeah, the phone was wiped. It was wiped. It was missing its memory card, as you guys know, and everything relating to the young lady was wiped from the phone except for her name, name and phone number. But like I said, a lot of things were just removed from that phone. And one thing that always puzzled me the most, you guys, you got to start looking at the common sense things, factors as well. The Buckeye Police Department put out this woman's text messages on their report, right? One side of hearsay, blah, blah, blah. And then, like I said, on the side of blue work again. They came on their defense and say, oh, we retrieved some deleted text messages from Daniel's phone. Really? Really? After y'all gave me the phone and all that kind of stuff. Y'all have this, well, put it out in the report. Match it up against what this lady had on her thing. They can't, because they know if they put something out there, they know I have a copy of his timeline on his text messages, his phone call, who came in, and all that kind of stuff. And if it don't match, they know I'm going to come out publicly and say, what is this crap you just putting out there on your report? So some of those things are hyperbole. Some things they say, and I want to see it. Like, look, show me the goods. Put it on the table. If my son has some text message y'all retrieve, y'all was eager to put this woman's text message on your report. Put his text message on your report. Let's match that up. Let's go ahead and match it up. I want to see it. And I want to see it so I can understand, so I can clear what really happened when it came to those messages as well. So let's do it. Let's go. Let's get to it. I don't need these kind of games they play. That's the thing I'm trying to say, you guys. It's games. It's waste of time. It's waste of my time. I'm a serious father. I don't know if they're serious men or not. Like I said, I know they want to play the blue, but I'm serious father looking for my son, and I need them to do their job. That's point blank. I don't give a damn about their feelings or anything else, but I care about my son, and I care about him getting his justice that he deserves, and I care about them putting money that he paid. He paid taxes here. I pay taxes here. I'm a resident of Arizona now, and I pay taxes. So let's go ahead and get this money into my son's case. Put this money into my son's case. So, all right. But yes, that's data deleted out of his phone, Google's history and all kind of stuff that I was able to get some things retrieved, but not everything just yet. So hopefully this law enforcement agent that want to be silent can get those data really soon and give me some information that I need. All right. So Michelle, thanks so much. What about Maricopa County Sheriff? Are they assisting? They should be. It should be. And that's one of the things, you guys, I was going to put out as a call to action is requesting those things. I put out, have meetings, you guys, and I requested. I want them to take, the sheriff department can take Dane's case right now. They have no problem with that. I mean, they have no issues to be able to do that. But they can. They can do that. My son went missing in Maricopa County. Why not? Why aren't they there taking lead? This sheriff department. I've been asking over and over again, verbally, in meetings and everything else, for them to take over this case. And I give them the reasons why. You guys have a lot of things that I can't put out in the public, but they know the reasons why I need Buckeye off my son's case, right? You all can see it on the open side. Look at the scene. What would about the scene would tell you that we don't need to keep some evidence just in case it's turned criminal? Look how they handled my son's case. It took them almost 3 days, which I find out now that first search for my son probably only happened like 2.5 weeks after he went missing. Now, I don't got no information to say this Phoenix Firebird that they lied about, in my opinion, in their report actually happened. But to this day, there's no proof of that. Phoenix can't verify that right now. So show me that. Show me, you see all of this stuff happen instead of helping a police department who's not doing the right thing and taking my son's case. You having meetings without me to help the police department who's been messing up in my son's case. But it's all about the blue. It's not about finding my damn son. And that's what makes me angry about this. Excuse me, guys. But that's not really about that. It's about helping the blue and help them. It's not about helping me find my son. I've been blocked every step of the way. No cell phone pings, no footage from, just you name it. I just go down the whole timeline. I will be putting that together, guys. I would not have a Q&A next week because I will be doing things like that. I really will be putting this finalizing the timeline so I can put everything on paper. So you guys can look at the chart, look at the sheet, how things happen, what person said this, what happened, this, that, blah, blah. So y'all can have a really better understanding of why I'm the way I am when it comes to law enforcement. I'm not a anti-police. I'm pro-police. I'm anti-corruption of police. I'm anti-lies. Especially I'm anti somebody who's not giving my son the justice he deserves. So, like I said, I don't give a damn who they are. Just because you wear a gun and a badge and some blue shirt or whatever they wear, that don't give you a right to treat people any kind of way. Like I was supposed to back off of you some kind of way. No, you work for me. We don't work for them. They work for us. And that don't make you put you in the position where you just do people any kind of way and think it's okay. No, it's not going to happen on my watch. Not with my son. They found the wrong person, and it's not going to happen with my son. I'm going to do everything I can to make these departments here in Arizona do the right stuff. And I'm just going to keep pushing and pushing. They're just going to get tired, and I'm going to get more crafty. I'm going to find different ways, and I'm going to find ways to make them act. And this is going to happen. So it's either they're going to do the right thing now or they're going to do it. I'm going to continue on pushing the way I have to push. You guys, I get my low moments and then I get my inspired moments. And I really try to come back swinging. And I will do that. So I want to see the stuff in my son's case. So thank you so much for the question. Michelle, I didn't see the word question. You guys have any question? I just happened to see your question. But if you got any questions, please, you guys, put the word question there first. Question mark, something like that, and I can see it. That would help me. So that would definitely help as well. Help me find your question. Thank you, DP, for being here. And I really appreciate that. You said about LE, writing the president for awareness about LE and far less help and coverage for not white people. So how about writing the president for awareness? I don't know if you mean the president of the United States or not, but and I'm saying that because I don't know what you really mean on that part about the president. But if it's president of the United States, about awareness, and I think that'll go more so with the Justice Department. I think you were saying DP, and I have reached out to the Justice Department as well, and I will be continue. I just noticed I learned that one thing with the Justice Department, you had to keep pushing on that too as well. And like I said, guys, some people think they do things better than I can. But if you put yourself in my shoes, a lot of people, when they get together and they come up, they little groups and stuff, they have multiple people, right? I do have a team. My team is doing the best they can to help me with things, staying on track of timelines or appointments and, you name it. Those things I really need help on, you guys, because I'll be all over the place. People think throwing things all over the place. I get things today. As soon as I get out the Q&A, for instance, I'm doing something else. And then after that, I had to go do some things out in the street. And then I had to go get ready for the next Q&A. And then after that, so something always come up where I'm just constantly moving. And then some things get neglected and get pushed back somehow. So, and then I say, hey, I did go back and I'll pick those things up. So yeah, I've been going to the Justice Department as well, but I'm really going to have to push back more on the Justice Department because there's a lot of things in Arizona. It's evident. You see what's happening in Tempe right now. You heard the Buckeye Police Department where they have the corruptions going there. As you can tell, I'm put some timeline there. You guys can see when they used to call in public the remains that was found was human remains, and all of a sudden they bounced it all the way down. I'm hearing the latest report, just like I put the little thing up at the beginning here. The latest report, they're saying it was only 2 human remains, a skull and a bone or something. You know, after all this 7, 8 human remains was found out there. We found a lot of animal bones out there, but we also found human remains, but it's always been dumbed down to less by that department. And the reason why is because, just like they did in the past, in my opinion, there's crime statistics that they falsified and the chief got suspended off of. They want to keep that Buckeye looking like it's crime free. So for me, a man coming out of South Carolina, got searchers, found all these human remains out there in Buckeye, that make Buckeye look like a big crime area, things happening. So of course they're gonna try to dumb it down to 2 remains or something, you know, try to dumb it down somehow. But I'm that's kind of let those things slide because it's relevant to me. But it's relevant to those family members that those remains belong to, and hopefully the department at least did that with Maricopa County and find out who these people belong to, and get their family some type of sense of closure. It's not gonna be a full closure because we haven't found full skeletal remains out there, but we find bones here and there, and but to give them some sense of closure that their loved one is out there in that desert. So, all right, thank you, Matthews, also for your question. Have you tried contact John Walsh? I have multiple times. I had the sources, you guys. Of course, I talked to big names, news organizations who have connection, and John Walsh team. I called them directly, of course, didn't get a response back. So I tried a couple times, tried with CrimeCon as well to reach the John Walsh team again, and no contact back. So I just gave up on that. But yeah, and the reason why I wanted to reach out to John Walsh at the time was to pick his brain. They don't need anything from him. Just pick his brain. He's a father who's had a son, Adam, that went missing, and they found out that he was murdered. As you guys know, to date, he was decapitated or something or other. And but the thing he had to go through himself to look for his son. So, you know, of course, you know, me as a father out here, like I told you guys, I'm not an expert. I'm sure John Walsh wasn't an expert either when he was out there trying to find his son. So, but you know, just kind of wanted to pick his brain and some of the things he has done that I can do myself. That's basically all I wanted. Just wanted to find out what I can do to help better search for my son, and but I didn't ever get that from John Walsh. So, all right, and let's see if I got any more. Thank you, DP. Thanks so much for being here. Michelle, thanks so much for being here as well. Yes, and it takes a village. You're right. He's not. I say this often too. Yes, that's right. Daniel is the America's son. He's America's son because there's a lot of people going through the same exact thing. He's just a example of what happens here in the United States. Missing people is really, really big here in the United States. And, you know, but thank you so much for saying that, Michelle. I really appreciate that. God bless you for that. All right, Shauna, thanks so much for putting the information up. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it, Shauna. I really appreciate it from you too. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate that. God bless you. And I know we'll talk about that on the back end, but I really appreciate it. God bless you for that. Thank you, Katie. Also, Chip Smith, thank you so much for being here this morning. I hope you find them. Thank you so much. Sending prayers. From Ireland. Thank you so much for reaching out. I really appreciate it being a part of this Q&A. Katie, thank you so much. Thank you for your prayers. And I know I will. I'm going to keep that faith, and I will definitely find my son. So thanks so much. Thank you, Laurie C. Thanks so much for being here. And thank you. So I'm a new sub. You have my support. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Laurie. Thank you so much. God bless. Let me see who else I got here. If you guys have any more questions, please, by all means, you know, again, put the capital letter Q there, the word question mark, something that definitely will help. Change.org. You guys can go to change.org and look up the petition, or you can easily go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com, hit the petition tab. It's still taking to change.org. Buckeye, Arizona Police Department, Justice for Daniel Robinson. You know, you can look that up, as well as go to the website, pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. The information is there as well. So thank you, Shauna, for putting that in the chats. I really appreciate you. PM Channel has a question here. Thank you, PM Channel. Do you have plans to contact the local news media station to conduct a follow-up interview regarding the progress of Daniel's case and the lack of support from law enforcement? I really do. I have reporters. I miss Josh Sanders. He was one of the first persons that gave me a break, and Nicole Griggs, her name. They gave me my first break here in Arizona. Also, some other breaks that I have as well. And I just want to say, yes, I'm definitely trying to reach out to them again and give updates. They always call me. She called me the other day, for instance, and also asked me, do I have any updates and things like that. So they kind of check in here and there, and but I want to say it's just heard. And also, I have a radio personality, Mr. Galloway, the Galloway radio station here in Phoenix, who gave me a break and put Daniel's story out there really quickly here locally for Arizona. So I kind of really want to reach out to them again, like I said, and really, like you said, get some updates and things like that on those channels. Also, since I've been here, some other radio stations as well, some news organizations and stuff like that. So, yeah, I definitely want to do more updates if I can get those times and stuff to do that. So, all right. And thank you, Shauna, for putting this up as well. If you guys want to support in your donations as well, that's always greatly appreciated. The GoFundMe there is pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. You can hit the donate tab and they'll take you there. Some people don't like to give the GoFundMe. They say because of the fees that come out. But at the same time, I think the Cash App is on the Twitter page. I don't really try to keep it one source of funding to make things a lot simpler. It's easier for me as well. But you guys have another option, and that's the Cash App. If you want to donate, I greatly appreciate your support. I would never have been here over a year without your support. So I really thank you. Again, that goes with the support as well. When it comes to GoFundMe, I hear a lot of things out there, even about that. Some people say, hey, I would have did this and did it this way. Yeah, of course. Everybody have their way of doing things. Like I say, I'm not an expert professional, but I did take the funding and utilize the funding the way it should and the way I needed to use it. You guys, is everything you see on the GoFundMe has been actively used. Saying from the searches to the flyer distribution, travel, to do leads to me actually living here in Arizona. So all of that is a contribute to me being here, keep my boots on the ground, all that kind of stuff. So I'm really grateful you guys have been supporting from day one. I asked you guys, and you guys have reached out in your pockets and helped me out. So I really appreciate that. Kept keeping me here in Arizona, and I'm still fighting. Like I said, it's not a vacation or anything like that. I'm here fighting for Daniel, and I've gotten the answers. I just need to get law enforcement to move on some of those things. So I'm tired. I'm tired, mentally tired, physically tired. But you know what? You guys have been, like I said, been number one in everything I do. And I see even the super chats right there. All the stuff, it helps out. So thank you so much. All right. Also, thank you, Faye, for being here this morning. Thank you for your prayers. And I will get Daniel home, his mother. And I want to say, I say this a lot, you guys, and it turns to be more me, or whatever the case may be. The way I would like to say this, I try to understand it as from my perspective. I'm just very a go-getter. I'm a go-getter on a lot of things. Daniel is a go-getter. I'm sure he tried to mimic some of those things from being raised up around me. So he's a go-getter. And when I say you're a go-getter, meaning that you're not going to sit on your dreams. You're not just going to sit on something and just don't at least try. If when I heard my son is missing, everybody handle things different. Of course, Daniel's mother, like I said again, and I are divorced, 2 different houses. We got a husband, you name it, but we still communicate. Of course, when Daniel went missing, of course, the first thing I'm doing as a father, independently, is going out here to find my son, independently. Of course, I'm going to reach out to my children and my daughter, who's here in Arizona, and do everything I can as a father to find Daniel. So to make a long story, what I'm getting at, alluding to, is that sometimes people that say, "Where's his mother?" or his siblings and things like that. I hear that all the time, and I used to have these answers and try to come up with these answers. My daughter, when I first got here, of course, she and I was out uh, giving some of these answers, trying to help the Buckeye Police Department. She was coming to the desert searches, and on one occasion, her other sister came along with her husband. But the thing is, since told them not to come to the searches, only because I was able to really come to my senses. I'm out there. I'm a veteran from Afghanistan. I've seen some things and had to do things out there in war zone, and I know how that affects me to this date. I know how those war experiences affects me. Things I had to deal with, and so my daughter was out there one day, and the searchers out there, and she said they called me on the radio. Her and her sister and her sister's husband, they're out in their own little small little group. I kept them near the road area. And they was out there doing their own search. We're doing a thing called a hasty search. So you're just kind of hiking a little bit, looking around. And they call on the radio frantic. Hey, Dad, pretty much they found some bones or whatever out there. Of course, we're at that point looking for human remains. Wasn't out there for a rescue mission at that point. I didn't say it to my children, but that's exactly how those were. But to make a long story, that of course, when I arrived there, thank God it was animal bones, of course. Once we saw, we knew it was cattle. But the thing she said, "Oh, I'm glad it wasn't Daniel," right? And so that's when it dawned on me, like, look, my children don't need to be out here in this desert, so I forbid them to be out there family wise. Is because if we were to find Daniel in that kind of state, they don't need to see that with their eyes. Like I said again, I know how you have to deal with certain things you see from law enforcement had to see, for instance, or when I was in Afghanistan, what we had to see, what we had to do, and that's not something that should be staying in your memory, especially about your loved one. I would hate to see family members out there to see those human remains we found out there in the desert. So that type stuff. So definitely want to keep them away. But like I'm saying, that's the desert. But for other things, you guys, I can't speak for them as to why they're not so present, but I am. I just want to put it there. So sometimes you'll hear me say myself or this and that because I really don't know how to really address why certain things are a certain way. Everybody handle pain a lot different. They have handle situations a lot different. I try to learn that. I learned that from just trying to ask people to come on this Q&A is a prime example. There's a lot of families out there I meet all the time who have missing loved ones, and I say, hey, come on to Q&A. You can tell a story. I have a small platform. It's not many. There's all over 1,000 subscribers, but it's something. Saying, hey, you might tell it to someone who's listening to this Q&A, and that might could solve your person's case. I mean, you never know. So, but I can't get people. Have you seen too many people at all on this Q&A? Just once. So, it's hard to get families on camera, for instance, or certain little things. So, so I kind of chunk it off as that. Everybody have their different way of doing things, and but I have my way too. It's not easy for me either. Being here on the Q&A this morning, I really wasn't in a mood to do a Q&A. But I'm doing this for my son. I was push myself to a limit. Sometimes I don't think I have any more limits to go, but I push myself to a limit because I'm really trying to do everything I can to find Daniel, and that's keeping awareness, keeping you guys engaged if you can. I really ask you guys to do that. Share his story. That's very important. So I'm trying to do everything to make that happen. At the same time, working in the background to try to make other things, some investigative things happen. So I'm doing a lot of work. But I say I won't be able to speak for other family members, but I do feel alone when it comes to family. But I do have my team. I have supporters like yourself. When I see the super chats, I see you support, your words of encouragement, all that kind of stuff matters. I'm telling you, all that stuff matters. Heck, I even have I'm not gonna put that out, but I tell you what, you guys, all this stuff really matters. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much again, Athena. Like I say right here, I really appreciate all that. Really matters, and thank you, Athena, for your super chat, and God bless you too for all your endeavors and everything you have done. And like I said, this is what a prime example of what I was just talking about. things like that. The super chats help me out a whole lot in a lot of ways. Help me out financially, and also help me out, more mentally and morale. So really, thanks so much for your love, Athena. Thanks so much. I really appreciate that. Again, thank you, Shiro's Nation, for putting this out. So please don't forget to share the channel, hit like, share, subscribe, comment. Also helps the algorithms. Yes, thanks so much, and that really does. And I really appreciate you taking on that, Shiro Nation. Thank you so much. Also, I have a question here from Beck. Thank you, Beck Haley, for coming out from the YouTube side. Do you have billboards in the area praying for Daniel and your family? Yes, I have. From the east side of Phoenix to the west, I don't have it currently. Of course, I had to cut back on the billboards, but yeah, they've been running for several months out there from the east side of Phoenix to the west side of Phoenix. But yes, I will be hopefully being able to put more billboards back up again. But yes, I was really proud to work with Lamar. Lamar is a company that does the billboards. They gave me a great deal at the time, and I really appreciate them as well. So yes, thank you. Thank you for your question as well. All right, T and Wildflower, thank you so much for being here as well. Always been a constant support for the Q&A. I really appreciate that. So you guys have any more questions? I am coming down. I see Mayor Flynn have one here. If you have any more questions, do like Mayor Flynn here, question mark. And also, you can just put the word question there before you question. That it really helps me find it as I'm coming down. You mentioned Heavy D Sparks. Will you reach out to him with Texas Echo Search? Texas Echo Search, I would not be reaching out to them. I did before. They told me Daniel's case don't fit their profile. I talked to Dave Rader there with them. I think it was last year. I definitely won't be reaching out there. But the Heavy D Sparks, I'm not mistaken, but I did get some kind of indication of a voicemail or something on the cell phone, the public cell phone. I think they reached out, and I'm really looking into that today as well. See if that's a part of who was reaching out to me, and I definitely would look into that as well. So yes, I've been here by Heavy D Sparks for a while. I don't know exactly what they do, but hopefully when I talk to them, I'll find that out. I do know that I think it was Avengers with a Purpose. They do a lot of water stuff, from what I was told. So, I'm in the desert, and some of the things I'm dealing with right now would not be dealing with water. But definitely, Heavy D Sparks. So thanks so much, Mary, for that. I really appreciate it. God bless you for your suggestions and helping out with that. I have Michelle again. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your question. What numbers on the grid map would you like to have search? I don't have that offhand, but definitely we have some areas on if you look at that set the map, it'll be on the other side of the Hassayampa River. We have an area that definitely need to be line searches had to be done on that. I had a meeting last night talking about that when this upcoming search and search going forward. But it's one of the things I had a problem with is the logistics of getting people over across to the other side of the Hassayampa River. Of course, when I say people have a problem, it's people without the all-terrain vehicles, the Jeeps, the Razors, you name it, the quads. They can get over there with no problem. We got those type of vehicles and get over no problem. But people with regular vehicles and things like that. And then the number of people that I need for that kind of search, logistic wise, just getting people. I mean, people had to keep coming back and forth, grabbing people and bringing them over, and to get to that side of the river. So some of those are reasons why that's taking so long to put that together. I even tried with one volunteer was able to help me get contact with the National Guards to try to get the National Guard involved, and just as a training op to try to get volunteers over to the other side, and bring them back, that's as a training op, and to do these searches. So looking into different ways of getting it done, but definitely need it done. So yeah, I don't have it offhand, Michelle, the grid number, but it's there. If you go to the set the map, pleasehelpfinddaniel.com, go to set the map and look under I can't remember the exact wording, But you look up on the key on the right-hand side of the page at the top, you can pull down the key and you can help click these little boxes there, and you kind of look at what area that what I'm saying, will still need to be searched, that we're looking to searching, that type deal. So it's there. All right. Let's see who else I got here. If you guys have any more questions, please, by all means, put them up here. Thank you, PM Channel, for yours. You guys, like PM Channel did here, the word question for the question, that helps out. Since you are new in Arizona and didn't know anyone, how did you manage to assemble such a remarkable team? Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Well, if you're saying for the desert team, like I said, I first got here, social media. The first thing I tell families to do is to, when you have a missing person, of course, that's something I learned in the military as well. Communication is key. The military cannot do anything. Air Force, Navy, Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, all cannot work together without communication. Even the Army, these units cannot work together. We'll be shooting each other. We'll be shooting each other, killing each other, a lot of friendly fire, all this kind of stuff. So you need communication. You need to, people need to know you on the ground. My new unit was in Afghanistan. When we're moving on the ground, doing our convoys and things like that, they need to know we're on the ground, right? And so where we're at all times, that kind of stuff. So, because friendly fire can happen, and so communication is key. And one of the biggest things I know when I got here is the first thing is build this website, pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. That's the first thing I did, to be able to put Daniel's picture up, some family information to get the community involved. They look at the website, go on social media and say, hey, I got this website, check it out. My son missing, blah, blah, blah. And people will start looking at the website, start learning, oh my God, somebody put a picture there, something that people would want to attach themselves to. So I did that. And then also the second thing is to reach out. Once I was out there almost every day on the side of Sun Valley Parkway with my binoculars, hoping I could see Daniel from the roadway and rescue him somehow. How I was going to get in that desert. I knew I'm familiar with desert. I just wasn't familiar with that desert terrain. It's a lot different, a lot of more vegetation than it would in Afghanistan. And I knew how the dangers of the desert. We had took heat training and all kind of stuff when I was in the military. So I know the desert is something that's not just likely you take lightly. So I did reach out to the community through social media. Met one gentleman. I was looking for people who actually live in Buckeye, who actually know about that desert. Been doing my own research about the dangers of that desert. Learned about the mines and stuff that's out there, to washes, you name it. And I reached out to that one person. One person gave me some of the breaks we formed together, searchfordaniel.org, and went from there. So he used his people he knew or whatever you could say on his social media, and I work on my social media and to try to pull those things together to form, get people to come out to a search that was organized, our first search, right? Organizing. So that's how that started off, just not knowing anybody, working with a stranger, and get the searches going that way. So I was able to be able to meet somebody to work with. That's how things started coming off the ground, to get people to actually come out from the community. He reached out to his side with people that he's Arizonian, and reached out to people who wanted to come out to the searches. And so that's how that started. But as in my team that I have now, my team, everybody on my team right now, they've been out to the search. Of course, there were volunteers. I didn't know them. They said they met me. They said they even gave me a hug, and I just couldn't remember. There's so many people out there. But I then, once I got the city flyer distribution going out every Saturday as well. After I leave the desert, I'll go out into the city and get flyers out there in all over the city. And that's when I met one of my team members, and she in turn took it upon herself. She saw the need. Hey, Mr. Robinson's doing all this by himself. I don't know how you do it. You got all those things going on at one time, how he's able to work the desert, work the city distribution, as well as to get on these interviews, to blah, 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 and saying he investigated. So there's a lot going on for one person. So she took it upon herself to put a team together, a team of people. The ironicity to that is that once we had our first meeting, Zoom meeting, two of the people in that team meeting I actually knew. One I knew in particular, he I met him when I first kind of got here in Arizona, and he been around for a while. So it was a small world type deal. Him and another gentleman. The one fell off, but the other one's still part of the team. And like I said, once the team came together, they decided to help, and they've been helpful ever since. They also became the board members for the Daniel Robinson Foundation. So what can I say? A very good team. We get along very well, and they're very helpful. I mean, like, I love them all. So they're very good people, and so I'm fortunate to have a team of people who actually care. They care about Daniel. They're very passionate. They're mothers and they're father. One is a father, so who's very much just care about Daniel and his well-being, and also care about myself. So I really appreciate them. I love them too. But yeah, that's how I came about having a similar team together. Is the team I have now came to me. So God been blessed by that. All right, and the desert team, of course, that came from the searches. I had to get a search coordinator. I had to get a logistics coordinator, and my logistics coordinator came from a volunteer search I went to, and I didn't have my search coordinator couldn't come. He canceled. I kept the search going that day. Being busy with interviews, I still didn't know. I was still relying on him to tell me a little bit more about the desert area out there in Sun Valley Parkway that he's familiar with. By him not being there, I had to reach out to the people in the crowd, and one person stood up, and you guys know who he is. He stood up and he became my logistics coordinator for a while, and then once the coordinator I had fell off, he took that spot for a while. So, all right, but thank you so much, you guys. If you want the PM does answer that question there. All right, if anybody's having any more questions, I'm gonna make sure I don't go over my time. I'm getting close to that 2-hour mark. But if you guys have any more questions, by all means, please. By all means, have these questions with a capital letter Q. And let's see here. Make sure I'm not over. Okay. All right, there we go. But I've still got a little bit of time, you guys. And if you have any more questions, please put the word question there, followed by your question, question mark, capital letter Q, followed by your question. And that helps. Shauna, thanks so much for your question. If you are able to say the protest Daniel attended and was interviewed, was that for George Floyd? Yes, it was. Did he run into any altercations being there? Yes, he was doing the George Floyd protest, and like I said before, I was very proud of him. He was still talking to me. I could hear the people in the background, and I was really proud at that moment sitting in South Carolina. I was like, man, I wish I was there with him. Of course, I'm against police brutality. I'm a victim of that. And the thing that happened with George Floyd, it was a senseless murder. Saying, I'll tell you guys, just because a person wears a uniform, you can't always just say they're right about everything just because they say it. And as you know, those officers went to jail for murder, right? They murdered that man. We saw it on live TV. We saw what happened. Of course, my son, he's an advocate of standing up for what he believes in, and everybody should do that. Whatever you believe in, you should stand up. And I tell my children all the time, look, stand up for what you believe in. And I'm proud of him. He did that interview with one of the local news stations here while he was doing the protest. I put a couple pictures on that before, but I would like to get that interview from they throw it at me all the time, but they never actually gave me the actual video of that interview. But I'd love to get that from them as well. But the thing is, he was in that protest. One of the things I have got when I first came to Arizona is a fear from the Black community of retaliation. Because as you know, you guys, the Justice Department had to come in, the United States Justice Department had to come into Phoenix, Arizona, because of this protest. The Phoenix Police Department was going out retaliating against members of people who was protesting. My son is not a part of the Black Lives Matter organization, but that's what they was doing, saying this Black Lives Matter protest, how they feel about Black Lives Matter. I'm not going to get into that. We have debate about what Black Lives Matter really means. But the thing is, they was going around arresting the protesters and calling them gang members. Isn't that ironic? Calling them gang members and things like that. They would, for instance, they would arrest my son that night. They would call him a gang member. He's not a gang member. And they arrested him and did all kind of stuff like that, coming to their houses, harassing. I've been hearing all kind of stories. What's been happening here in Arizona, especially Phoenix, and in Buckeye as well. One case, Phoenix police also came up to some person's house in Buckeye to harass them. So the thing is, one of the things they was worrying about is retaliation. Hey, your son, they want to make sure that Daniel didn't go missing because of that. Some kind of retaliation from the police departments. So the thing is, I don't know about that, but that was some of the things that was thrown at me when I first got here, and him being part of the protest. But the Justice Department since came in and get those charges off of those people and all that kind of stuff, and it was a bit mess. But yeah, that's one thing that I had to try to look into at the beginning. I don't have no full answers to that. It's just that that's one of the things that's suggested from the community here when I first got here. All right. Thank you, Anissa, for your question. For you two side, I'm traveling to Mexico on Sunday. I will be in 2 major cities. Our flyers available in Spanish, and I will absolutely be taping them up in the restrooms as well. That never did cross my mind to put that. This is a high population of Spanish or Hispanic population, and I didn't ever think about that. That's a good idea, as in putting some of these flyers in Espanol. So that'd really be good. That'd be really good. That's a really good idea, Nissa. I don't have any right now, but that's a good idea. And I know my team is hearing that right now, so you guys, if you can, write that down and kind of remind me of that, because that's a great idea. I really appreciate that. It's weird. They haven't thought of that before. Have done some interviews with Telemundo a lot, and to reach out to a different community to try to help in my efforts to find Daniel. Excuse me. And I have never some reason didn't think of that. So thank you so much, Nissa. That really helped out. But I don't have any. And if you need any flyers anymore, you definitely know how to reach out to us. Please help find Daniel at yahoo.com, and you can request more flyers. Or you can go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com on the volunteer tab, and you'll see the form there. You can request flyers that way as well. So, all right, Athena, thanks so much for your questions. Have you considered a billboard requesting a proper investigation by another authority? And I will be putting billboards again. The billboard I had in the past was just missing person billboard as for Daniel, information for the tip line and stuff like that. So I would do letters. One of the things is for call to action would be letters. I'm writing. They have one volunteer. I really appreciate. I can't think of her name right now. She emailed me a couple weeks ago, and wrote up a letter to the FBI, office. So I'll get some of those templates like that and put it out online, and somebody want to use it. I'm not gonna say, hey, use this template because I'm to protect myself, but I'm gonna put it out there for people. If they want to use it, they can. It's up to your choice. And like I said, I'm not gonna say, hey, you need to call the FBI or whatever. If you want to call the FBI, you can. It's your right to do so. And on my son's behalf, I have no problem with that. So if you want to do that on your own, I really appreciate it. So anybody want to do that and flood and call or whatever you want to do, that really helps out a lot. So thanks so much if you can. I really appreciate it. That's the kind of things, when it comes to call to action. Paula, thanks so much for your question. Maybe you can't say it, but I will. The Buckeye Police Department are corrupt, and they have been defiant and denying of resources since Daniel went missing. Easily, they can change his status to endangered person to open up resources, but they are doing absolutely nothing. How do you penetrate the blue wall of corruption? And that's one thing. You have some points there, as in, when you see the scene here, and you literally telling a family you believe that person had a severe head injury, brain injury, and that's what made them shred their clothes off. This is their assessment of that. And he's walking around the desert because there's no evidence to change the clothes and all that stuff. You walking around the desert butt naked in 118-degree weather, and that's not an endangered person with a head injury. He's not endangered. He just a grown man wanting to disappear on his own, I guess, where they come from, and then it's give me everything for safekeeping as he's gonna come back from that situation and come get his things. And that's heartless. That's very heartless and it's cold-hearted, and you really think of it the most. So you have a point there. At any point, they could have easily made him at least an endangered person. They refused to do that. They doubled down on their wanting just to be a missing person case. So they hired their own investigator again, who had never seen my son's vehicle, never touched it, never smelled it, never tasted it, never done anything, never seen the clothing, nothing from that scene. Look at some pictures, I guess, and made a full report in their report about my son's vehicle they'd never seen before. He never seen the damage on his own. None of that stuff. And the same pictures you guys see, I'm sure that's the same picture this investigator they hired seen. They spent a lot of money. I know how much I spent on my investigator. So if what I spent, and this funny, crazy part is, we had to talk a deal with this investigator, my former investigator. So I know how much I had paid him. I can imagine what they paid this so-called investigator, but they didn't put a dime of that money into my searches out there for my son. So, and I'm finding out that this first search probably didn't even happen in the first place. So, so that's one of those things. Like I'm saying, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me, and they don't want to use those resources. All right, so thank you so much for your question. Laura C., your question here, as someone new here, what is the main thing I can do to help? Well, one thing is, like I said, one of the biggest things, a couple things I do, go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. I have all the ways that you can help in my efforts. My efforts have been growing. I started off here. I didn't have a search when I first started. I was working with the police department, giving all the information I can, trying to get information I can. The first thing I did when I reached out to the community was to ask everybody to help me remain here in Arizona. I have a home in South Carolina. I have a young daughter back at home in South Carolina as well. And, I have my responsibilities there. But I got in my car and drove out here to get in Arizona. And the first thing I did is reach out to the community to help remain here in Arizona. And you guys have done that. Started my searches. I needed help. I didn't know how much that would cost. I raised the GoFundMe to reflect that, try to guess what I needed. And from that point, it started growing from that point because the need got greater as I was doing the searches. And then from there, like I said, in the meantime, at the same time, I was reaching out to the media, working really hard. Took 3 months to really get out there to national level. But I've been pushing hard day and night, answering questions on social media, talking to people the last minute at night, reaching out to celebrities, to you name it. Finally got the Joy Reid from MSNBC, got on Red Table Talk, to you name. It took a lot of work. I just put it that way. But it took a lot of you guys sharing the posts and things like that. So like I said, if you guys can share, that helps out a lot. You know what I'm saying? Sharing, I mean, I can't get Daniel's name out there, even especially with news coverage, that cuts off after a while. News media, journalists, all that stuff, they fall off. But I'm not, and you guys are not. So you constantly sharing Daniel's story. And then from that point, again, like I said, I started from that point getting the flyer distributions. I've been really strong on that. I've seen that the desert searchers taking a lot, and it needed a lot to keep it functioning. Of course, I focused all my efforts on what I thought at the time. After almost, for 40-some weeks, I'm not looking for Daniel running around without his clothes on in the desert. I know what I'm looking for in the desert. So I know those searches can be on pause for right now, and I can go ahead and focus on reaching those persons that may know something or heard something. Keeping Daniel's story out there. That's why I had to focus on this flyer distribution. That's one of my main communication, again, is the key. So keep the communication as the number one resources that I have to make sure that Daniel is found. So I definitely do that. I already doing my own investigation. I got trying to push law enforcement to do some stuff. So that's the things. But when it comes to the community, yes, definitely want to make sure those flyers get out there. Make sure you guys keep talking about Daniel's story, keep sharing the story, hashtag, whatever the case may be, to keep things going. So just go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. And that's a lot of things there. We help sign the petition. You want to go become an ambassador. I might cut that in a while. I'm not really having any really luck with the ambassador program. I have a meeting every Thursday. Sometimes nobody show up. And so, just try to tell you guys about my idea about this ambassador program. But more people been asking us to send the flyers out, so I really appreciate that. You want flyers, Laura C., go to pleasehelpfinddaniel@yahoo.com and reach out to us and get, or go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com and go to the volunteer tab, and you'll see a way you can also request those flyers. So there's a lot of different ways you have. Sign a petition, that helps as well, Laura C., as well. And I do have Shauna. She probably also giving some more idea, Laura C., how you can help as well. So thank you so much, Shauna, for putting that there and helping out in the chats. Rachel Arnold, thank you so much for being here as well. You guys have any more questions? I am down to my limit in a few minutes. And I will be having the Q&A this evening. Oh, thank you. Thank you also, Lois. Thank you so much. So thank you for constantly being a supporter and constantly being here to support. Thank you for doing the flyers too. You name everything you have done. I really appreciate. God bless you for that, for being a part of this Q&A family, Daniel Robinson family. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much, Lois. But I will have Q&A this evening, most likely. If I don't, I will post it for you guys in ahead of time. But I will. I'm thinking of right now to make sure I have this Q&A this evening. The reason I say there's a possibility that I may change that and cancel it is because I have another engagement that came up 2 days ago, and I'm really trying to. It's an effort to keep Daniel's story going. So they may kind of have a little conflict with that schedule, so I had to weigh out the other. And if I do keep the Q&A, which I'm planning on, I may have to shift it from 5:30 to 6:30 or something like that. 5:30 to 6 o'clock or something like that. Maybe 30 minutes later. But you guys can kind of follow along. You'll see it there posted up, the Q&A time for this evening. But if you have any more questions, definitely bring those questions to this evening Q&A. The ones I missed today, bring them back because I need your support. I need your numbers. You just come in. I know you hear some of the same things over, but I need your support. I need those numbers. You have questions, definitely want to be able to talk about those. I would like to express some of the things I'm feeling, the things I'm thinking as well. I love to put things up like Lois, and thank you so much for the support, Lois, and everybody else who gave to the super chats today, supporting financially. So I really thank you so much. God bless you for that, showing your love in a tangible way. So thank you so much. Terry C. have a question here. Have you thought about having a psychic on out to the site? Well, I had several of them out there in the past, and I can say most people have different takes about what they think happened out there once they do come out there. But I have one in particular, some people that say there were psychics came out from California. The ironically to that is that that's when we found the last human remains that was found, the latest human remains that was found out there, and that's early part of this year. Those folks that came out from California, they didn't want to search in the area. They said, "Hey, we came here, we had this feeling," and whatever they do, and they want to search a different part of the desert. Of course, we keep a monitor that being part of my searches. We have a safety protocol. We don't let volunteers go wander off by themselves. So since there was a group of them, we felt more comfortable. They was able to go off on their own into a little certain area, but we definitely would check up them. We had a radio contact with them as well. But later, they called my investigator. He was out there at the time, and he went to go check up on them. And lo and behold, they had this feeling that there was going to be human remains, pretty much saying Daniel, but which was disturbing for me. But the thing is, lo and behold, wherever they were searching, that's where the human remains was found by my investigator. And one part of it, of course, I found out of one of the bones as well once I got on the scene out there with them. So, but the thing is, that was the ironically to the psychic community people. But yeah, there's a lot of people come out there and they say they're psychics and things like that. So yes, they're welcome as well to these searches. I need all the support I can. Like I said, when that public search come back up again, you guys check. Please help keep moms and please help find Daniel.com. It will be coming up again. Um, um, it's the winter time now. It's cooler in the mornings and get hot in the day pretty much in Arizona, but it's not as bad as back in South Carolina where it just be cold, period. Certain part of the year, you end up getting cold. All right. Thank you, Twistina, for your question. Did you check to see if Daniel's apartment building had any security cameras outside? Yes, I have. And that's one only place that had it was at the office. That's the unfortunate part. Or if any neighbors had a Ring doorbell that might have picked up anyone going in Daniel's apartment. Now, as in the Ring doorbell, I didn't notice anything. I did do some interviews with some of the neighbors in his immediate area, and I did get a lot of information that I was able to talk to one gentleman who lived in the building across from Daniel. That Daniel spent a lot of time. They both like to play video games together. So I was able to talk to him, a veteran at that. But I didn't notice any Ring cameras and stuff like that. The man above him, gave his take of things he see and stuff like that. So I do have some information from a lot of neighbors in that. This is that little small vicinity where Daniel apartment is. Terry Combs, have you your team considered bringing out psychics to the site? Oh yeah, they was out there. Like I said again, yes, it has a lot of them come out on the searches out there. When I had the desert searches going really well, and so like I said again, everybody's welcome to come out to the searches, and I really need all the help. Amber, thanks so much for your question. Have you been able to look more into Daniel's bedroom? Looked a little off. Seems like someone was searching through his house for something. Could indicate foul play. And that's the thing I try to put out to Tempe police as well. And like I said, I feel that most people they're interested in make Buckeye help Buckeye basically, because I put that out as well. Nobody's to say that just because this man said that Daniel, let's say it this way. I'm saying it this way. Let's say his story was right. He said, "Oh yeah, Daniel just waved off and left." Who's to say Daniel didn't go back home though? That's the last thing we heard from a person, right? Oh, he was last seen there. That don't mean he didn't go home, because there are some indication. I did put this out to Tempe as well. They know about this. My investigator sees what you saw, obviously, with the pictures I put up on social media. They see what my investigator was seeing. I saw it as Daniel had a messy room. He was throwing stuff around. But I mean, Daniel messy, but he's not like that. One thing they pointed out, and that's only some of the pictures, guys. I just showed that. I only gave you guys the pictures is because of what happened on that show ID channel. It really was disturbing. It put Daniel in a situation where I felt like he got thrown under the bus. I don't put it against the ID channel Discovery, but I kind of put it on his mother and his older brother. They didn't actually see this apartment. They didn't actually been here. They're not here in Arizona. They're going by word what they hear from me or some things I described. And so the problem is when they did that and they made this interview, they kind of threw him under the bus by saying, "Oh, his mother said, oh, he's in this pain, and I saw the pain, and that kind of deal." That was far from his apartment, so I had to take just pieces of pictures. I didn't give y'all everything, just the pictures of just obvious. You can see how clean his apartment really was, and you can see that there was no pain, and whatever happened to Daniel, it was because of his pain or something. Of course, he may be going through some pain. I mean, I'm going through pain. I'm going through some depression from my son being missing and other things. So that don't mean you go out and disappear or something, So the thing is, I'm saying is what we look at from an investigative standpoint, and trust me, I'm investigating, and as well as my investigator, that's why I hired an investigator. That's the reason why I had him go look into this apartment. Buckeye didn't go through that apartment. They took some pictures with the landlord, and they had to walk in because we was on the phone, and they would not let me in as a family member. But it's okay. Well, we finally convinced them to let Buckeye walk in there, and they say, we walking with you. You can't touch nothing in this man's apartment. You can take some pictures. So that was the agreement. Buckeye came in, take their little camera pictures or whatever. But my investigator was able to actually go and physically look into the apartment and take pictures and do whatever he had to do on the forensics level. And the thing is, one of the things he pointed out to me, pictures more detailed, it would suggest that somebody was looking for something. And so when I relay that to the police department, it's not something they want to grab hold to. But the thing is, somebody was looking for something. Somebody possibly had a key because there was no forced entry. And all the persons I can think of, and I can give my ideas about some things, but I'm not going to put that in the public as well. But you probably can kind of infer what I'm going at. But the thing is, it's some of those things are the questions that my attorney as well was asking, telling Tempe in the meeting that we had. There's nothing to say that Daniel was last seen in Buckeye by the guy Ken, that type deal. Oh, he actually been there. We don't know what happened. You just listen to what one person said, and that's it. And this whole narrative is based on that. And that's the problem I have with this department police stuff. Again, everything is what one guy said, and they're taking it as the gospel, like Shiro's Nation adequately say, and and it is going with that. Even with all the other stuff you guys not privy to know that I do have, and I have given that in the meetings with law enforcement, and it's still not attaching to it. So that type deal. So it puzzles me. It puzzles me. There's a lot of information that's there that's not in the public, and these guys, excuse me, were not attached to it. But anyway, or look into it. I have a question here for Ellen. I've run out of time. You guys are 2 hours and 8 minutes, 8 minutes past my time. When the phone was wiped, when a phone is wiped, is there a way to restore it? And I'm sure, hope so. I was able to get some things restored with a previous way of looking into that phone. But now is in the hands of law enforcement, who should have better, even more technology to pull things from that phone. Same as with the Jeep and accident information. Yes, same thing there. There are ways to restore. Yes. Also also praying for answers and forward movement for you in this case. Thanks so much, Ellen. But yeah, that's ways. A lot of times things because you delete it don't mean it's actually deleted, and so there's a lot of ways to get into get information in the past. Get information from phones and things like that, computers and you name it. And I'm waiting on those answers. So don't think just because law enforcement, once they finish with it, I'm still going to have some other things done to back up what law enforcement say they looked at as well. So see what they have done. Okay, thank you, Auntie. This is my auntie, you guys. Thank you, Auntie Sabrina. I really appreciate it. It really made me smile to see you here this morning on the Q&A. You guys, this is my auntie, Sabrina. Thanks, Auntie Sabrina. Listen to me. Thanks so much. The question is, David, did the guy in the white Tank Mountain ever been interviewed, and how he knew about Daniel's situation before you got to Arizona? I often wonder if he knew. I often wonder how he knew before I told him of Daniel. Okay, yes, I think you're talking about the gentleman from the White Tank Mountains. Okay, yes. To give you guys a context, what my auntie is speaking about, when we first getting information about Daniel's disappearance before I came out to Arizona, or got here to Arizona, my auntie reached out to several, I guess you call them lodges. I don't know, little areas where people go hiking, and I guess they kind of stay overnight, these little cabin type deals or something. But it's a park. It's one of the parks right around the White Tank Mountain area. And before this even went out to the public, you guys, Daniel was literally missing from the information we got. And we was out reaching out to Buckeye Police Department at the time. I was talking to Officer Cruz, and they haven't even gone out yet, to really saying they're going out Sun Valley Parkway to look for Daniel. But nevertheless, she was making a phone call to different places and see if he ended up in some of these places around White Tank Mountain area. And she called this one gentleman. Auntie, if I get this not exactly right, you can correct me. But the thing is, she talked to one gentleman there. I can't remember the name. I do have those things written down. But some guy on the phone, she was describing, asking, I guess, did he happen to see anybody come up to that lodge? And I think they had to check in through a security gate to get to these areas where you can kind of park your car, and it's the facilities, I think, there that have no electricity, but it's kind of a way to get away and be a part of nature, I guess, the way this park is. But anyway, he kind of made a suggestion. He said, "Oh, you're talking about the guy that took the wrong turn or something, took the wrong turn or something out of other." And that was information that was given before Ken, the guy at the well site, was giving us the information, before he talked to the to law enforcement to say, yeah, he went right instead of left, basically, so that was something I forgot about that until you're right. I have that slipped my mind. But that's some part of this case as well, of a person, whoever was able to say some things before it was even given to the cops, I guess you could say, before it was given to us as a family. This guy knew about Daniel making the wrong turn, and he said getting lost or something out of other, before that was even put out to the public. So we still was just really puzzled about that. That's something that has a long time slipped my mind. Some things that I probably have to still revisit. I will revisit that, Auntie. And but yes, there's some little strange things with that as well. Some things that was already said and done before it was put out in the public. Nobody knew. We didn't even know Daniel was missing yet or anything, or about some wrong turn and all this kind of stuff. The law enforcement didn't know at the time. So how this guy knew that in advance really quickly, I don't know. Whoever this guy was, and that's up in the White Tank Mountains. That's close to the area where Daniel went missing. So Auntie, if you can I'll call you later on the day. You kind of remind me of the details of that, and I can get that exact wording to that correct. So we'll talk about that also as well if I get some time. You know how my time is. If I get some time, I'll call you today. All right, love you too. God bless you. Thanks so much for being part of the Q&A this morning. But yeah, I'll look into that, you guys, and kind of elaborate on that a little bit more. But there's some things I did forget about, and I thank you, Auntie, for bringing that back up. All right, you guys, I don't see any more questions. I really thank you guys for joining in on this Q&A this morning. Again, like I said, I most likely will have the Q&A, and I will have the Q&A. And I will go ahead and forward to say, yeah, we'll have the Q&A unless something major change. I will have the Q&A this evening at the regular time. But if I had to adjust it, it'll probably be adjusted 30 minutes later. It depends on my next interview I have coming up here. And so I really appreciate it. Like I said, I really appreciate you guys for showing your love and support. Thank you for everybody who gave the super chats this morning. Like I said, everything helps, you guys. It's not easy to be able to take care of things at home in South Carolina, and it's also take care of things here in Arizona. So I'm doing two things at one time when it comes to myself, take care of myself and things here and things there at the same time. So just want to make sure you guys understand as well that I'm really appreciative for your love and anything you guys do, whether it's your great comments, your passing out information through flyers, through information. I mean, just kind words. I mean, just name it. All that stuff matters. Your donations as well, sign a petition, you name it. I'm just really grateful for everything you guys do. And I can't express it much enough, so that's why I try to express it often. Tell you guys I really appreciate it. And again, I'm just doing the best I can. A lot of people will say what they want to say. You can feel what you want to feel. And I can't stop that. But I can tell you there's nobody loved my son more than myself, my family. You see my auntie is there as well. His mother, of course, nobody, she's a mother, and his siblings. So everybody outside of that, I really thank you guys for your love and support. And I know you love Daniel as well. And you have shown that. You've shown that, like I said, through your donations. You've shown that through being here, tolerating this Q&A, hearing some of the same things. This you constantly showing your love. So I just really want to tell you guys, that's not ever going unnoticed by me or my family. I'm sure, like my auntie, she watched here. I'm glad she was here this morning to see y'all love and things like that. So I really appreciate it. I really appreciate each and every last one of you. God bless you, and thank you so much. And I see somebody say something about the business card and the hat. I just want to throw that out real quick. Yeah. And I will do that little display one day. I really want to do this, and I may do it. I'm not going to have a Q&A next week. I may can do it this evening, but I want to try to put one of these business cards out. When I find one I don't really need, and put that in a cup of water while I'm doing the Q&A, and we'll see the state of that business card by the time I finish my 2-hour Q&A. So, and then we'll see the status of that card, and just imagine if this card they're saying was there for 30 days. It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't make sense. So you'll see what I'm talking about. But anyway, love you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this Q&A. Please come back this evening at 6:30. 5:30. Excuse me. 5:30 Q&A this evening. Right here on Please Help Find Daniel YouTube channel. I will be back. I really need your support. Thanks so much for the support being here this morning. God bless you, and I hope your day is very prosperous. Everything you're doing out there, you guys, getting everything you need done, everything you're looking for in this day, all the successes, all the blessings that comes your way. God bless you guys, and I really thank you for, like I say again, for being here. You don't really have to, but you guys decided to do that, and I really appreciate it. So God bless you, and I'll talk to y'all next time.